Me as a man.
I just like when he licks his lips.
Huh? I'm looking them right now. Y'all can't see me, but
LL Cool J is hard as hell.
LL Cool J.
My God.
I'm gonna take it. Tell somebody drop that in the comment section.
LL.
New school LL.
Young LL.
Lowercase. Uppercase, lowercase.
Not a YN, a YLL.
He's a YN. And Sarah,
yeah,
you're a YD.
They are not. They're not Y anything.
Wait, what's the D stand for?
Sarah, use your right side of your brain. YN, YB. Use it.
She's practically an auntie.
I am an auntie. I got 12 nieces and nephews, okay?
Oh, damn.
We were talking sociologically, not your literal family status.
Well, I'm talking about both, baby. My parents are old.
How many nieces and nephews do you have? Like 47?
Me?
Yeah.
I have 12.
All right, you never told everyone your age. You had everybody in the chat, all of our Truth Avengers guessing. They said you were 70, 85. Who's right?
They was close.
I am so disgusted by this entire conversation, Charlie. The whole thing, every bit of that sentence was gross.
How old are you, Torre? Who won? I want to know who won.
To know.
Here's the thing. I am very good on left brain stuff. I am really not good on math stuff. So especially when the year is odd, I really don't know what age I am.
So were you one of our ancestors that were burning up in that house?
Damn.
Welcome, Truth Tellers. Let me see y'all in the comments with the hashtag @TruthTellers. Where's our OGs from season 1? Oh, I see y'all coming in. Come on, y'all. Last week, we had an amazing start on our new platform, the Black Star Network. We come on right after Roland Martin Unfiltered, and we are honored to welcome all the Bring the Funk fan club to our show, Truth Talks. Tonight, we're talking dating by the numbers. Let's get into it.
Are y'all ready to roll? Let's go.
You know, there's a time and place for everything. This is neither the time nor the place, but Shy said some very rude stuff before the show, so we're not even going to introduce her. Going on to Dr. Sarah Fortner. Welcome, Sarah.
Hashtag Torre's an ancestor.
And welcome to you, Dimitri.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
And I don't care who else is here because they are very rude individuals.
So I'll do my own. What's up, Dr. Bryant? I am the young auntie, Dr. Bryant. I'm not an ancestor. You don't have to guess my age. You can see it. It's young. It's a PYT. On the other note, I want y'all still to guess Torre's age.
Hating is not good for your complexion.
You know what? Colorism. Look how he's getting me, y'all. Freaking colorism right here on Truth Talks.
Oh my God. Compton's in the house.
35 or 75. Who knows?
I am so triggered and we haven't even started. Let's get into trending topics. Another crazy week in the Diddy trial. We hear over and over, Diddy was an adult thug attacking people all the time. After Pac, Tupac, and Biggie, Sarah, he was a big rapper, Pac was at the forefront of telling the community, the hip hop community, let's be peace and love. Let's not be ashy. Let's dress up. Let's be kinder and gentler. And meanwhile, backstage, he's having freak-offs with the Punisher and beating the crap out of Cassie and chasing Kid Cudi through the streets. And it was complete mayhem. How do you feel about hearing that this violence was going on then? Like, is it still going on, do you think? Or they're like covering this up better? I'm going to let Sarah go first, and Shy's not going to speak in this segment at all.
You know, I got to say, honestly, this is nothing new. It's nothing new under the sun. I think that this is just something that's now being shown. I think there are a lot of really wealthy people that get away with so many different things because they're wealthy. You can pay people for their silence. You can pay people for their bodies. You can pay people for just about anything, especially in this day and age. And so, no, I don't think that it's any more crazy. I think it's just in a lot of our faces.
D?
You know, I think the real problem here is that like the music industry has learned to like push this forefront of peace. The PR team can push peace while shit's backstage burning down, and they don't want the world to see that part. Like Diddy came out so shiny in his nice suits and his white parties, and we began to believe that he was such this figure. And then when it all gets exposed, to me, it's very scary how much they can push peace to the forefront and actually have us believe in it.
Shy, you say hurtful things, but I still love you. What do you want to say?
Absolutely nothing to you. So I'm talking to Sarah and Dimitri. My opinion on this case is, that again, this is just a man who uses influence, uses impact. And I feel like this is a position where he's like, look, can't use influence or impact in this moment. And I feel like he's having a real checkmate, reverse Uno experience of himself. Will it help? Will it give him some wisdom moving on? Whether he beats his case or not, we won't know. But what I do know is that folks who have those narcissistic traits like he has, not to get slightly off topic, whether they win or lose, they still end up showing up in that narcissism of who they are. So even behind bars, this man is going to figure out how to create a world that revolves around Diddy, even if he ends up behind bars. And, Lord knows, hopefully them freak offs don't start to take place in captivity.
Wow, that's an image. I think that in the 90s, as hip hop comes into its $1 million age, it was not that in the 80s and in the double O's when it gets even more. There's a large street influence. Like the street is saying, hey, we can get money over there. And they're coming in. And this is where Suge comes in. And Suge is creating a level of, not alone, but he is part of creating a level of toughness where everybody has to rise to the level of toughness that he's bringing to bear. And Puff is one of those people who are like, I have to get on that level. And other people were also pushing him. But like somebody who worked at Bad Boy in the 90s told me just this week, if you're going on records saying how tough you are, eventually somebody's going to come by and be like, let's see. I want to know. I'm from Bronx. I'm the Bronx. I'm from Compton. I want to see. So Puff understands this is going to happen. So he has to raise his level. He has to bring bodyguards who become like soldiers. I think there was a lifting of the amount of violence. It doesn't really exist currently, even though we still see rappers getting killed because the street is part of the hip hop world. I
honestly believe, sorry to jump in so abruptly, but I think Bad Boy has a whole new meaning now when we look at it in hindsight. That just the actual name of what it stands for 100%. Is a whole different kind of bad than we thought. There's violence. The violence itself is actually crazy, but look how much we were able to wrap violence into like a champagne bottle or like, the way.
But I mean, like I knew that it was difficult to work there and that the hours were long, the expectations were high, and he was quite a taskmaster, but like, there's beatings, there's rapes, there's, things happening. Like if somebody's getting beaten up on a plane, everybody's got to look the other way. And at this party, people are getting beaten up and chased and arson. And I mean, like you can't look at Bad Boy ever again and just talk about, Biggie and Mace. Like there was this horrific underbelly happening all the time coming out of Diddy. Sarah, go.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It just solidifies what I personally know to be true about a lot, not all, but a lot of really wealthy people. When his ex-assistant had testified that Diddy showed up with a gun and said they were going to kill Kid Cudi, when she was speaking of stories of abuse and kidnapping and beatings, all of these different things. I mean, really and truly, it just goes to show how powerful money moves in our world. That's
one last question in this first part. Shy, do you want to apologize for anything you said to me earlier?
I don't. But what I do want to say is that I believe that Bad Boy and Death Row, right? Those two record labels, I believe that violence was something that was intentional. I don't believe that happened on accident. I know that violence creates a fear factor. And when you are coming off as the big dog like Diddy is, there has to be a certain level of violence where people understand, listen, I'm not to be fucked with, because money and power is something that creates an image that people have to uphold. And upholding that image when you are in a certain environment that has to do with, street folks or gangsters or drugs or any of that, you have to be able to let people know that, look, I got my pistol on my lap, grip, whatever them, don't get me wrong, that verse of that song says. And you have to let people know that Sarah said this earlier, that, hey, when you get to a certain level, yeah, you get it, Dimitri, you should be paying people to do things, but there's some validation and credibility that comes from a person who's in the street or in the hoods who doesn't pay someone to do it, who does it on their own. That shows you that they are willing to go there with you, and that violence is something that they're willing to do by all means necessary.
One thing we see, like Suge, I mean, we should not be violent in our professional spaces, but he's using violence in a way that brings the business to him, right?
Yep.
Diddy is attacking his own people, right, to control Cassie. There's no business motive to the attacking that he's doing, and he's not doing it in a defensive way of "don't mess with me." It's very offensive and aggressive.
But he's doing it to control everybody, Torre. We keep making this a Cassie thing. Diddy being controlling Kim Porter. He's been controlling his bodyguards. He's been controlling the women he dated before. He's been controlling the women we haven't heard about. So remember, this is bigger than just Cassie. I understand she is the pioneer and she is the face of this case. But Diddy has been running shit and controlling shit from the beginning, from the Biggie and Tupac days when Cassie wasn't even thought of. This dude's been doing this thing from day one. And back in the day, we didn't have social media like this. So you could pull up on somebody with a pistol and pistol whip them. You could pull up and shoot somebody and not get caught. We just now have a space where you can't just do what you want to do because there's too many cameras or too many eyes, and people are not afraid to snitch no more.
Some of the lawsuits against Diddy, which I have read through, do talk about, I saw him shoot somebody. I believe that person was deeply, like, grievously injured, and I know nothing happened to him.
Yeah.
So, and this is like late, like when he's dating Cassie, not like the Biggie Mace era. So, I mean, like, he felt like he could kill people and get away with it, and make sure everybody around him knew that he felt like that.
That's the fear factor that he wanted
just
to
put this little tidbit in there, just a little bit. It's a fact that Diddy did win a Grammy right after Biggie died. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but the song was "I'll Be Missing You."
You know, that's like one of the most famous songs of all time, right?
You know, one of the most famous songs of all time. But isn't it kind of ironic that you made a song about death and then it's hypothetically speaking that you may have had something to do with this. I think
whoa.
Hypothetical now.
I'm not sure that anybody could suggest that he had anything to do with Biggie's death, other deaths, but not.
It could be a conspiracy.
You look it up on YouTube. It might be a
conspiracy.
Look it up on YouTube. Travel the rabbit hole.
I mean, all right. Look, let's rabbit hole. Let's move on. I went to the Beyonce show this week. That means I win the week. The Cowboy Carter World Tour. And she made me like country music again. Like, wow, she's teaching us about the roots of country. Like, the roots of all American music, Dimitri, is in Black music. The blues. Yeah. We created the entire tree that becomes American music, especially country. And then you imagine it. Some people in the country world still don't get it. Look at SHABOOZEY.
Yep, I do.
Country music has been an important part of AMA history. The very first year of this show, the award for favorite male country artist went to the great Charlie Pride.
That same year, favorite female artist went to Lynn Anderson, and this award went to the Carter family, who basically invented country music.
Wait a minute. I don't even name that little white girl. I don't know her name. I don't care to know it. Can we please see SHABOOZEY again with the amazing eye flip, please?
Family, who basically invented country music.
He like looks out, looks back. It sort of hits him in the cerebellum, and he's like the eyebrow, like, what is this bitch talking about? No, they did not create it. And you know what I just saw? Somebody said, Sarah, that Beyonce naming the album Cowboy Carter, which surely relates to her name, but it helps erase the Carter family when you search for Carter and country music. So this is like this amazing Kendrick Lamar level, like double or triple entendre.
I love that for her. And you know what? I love that. It's like, I love to stick it to the man. I love anybody that feels like they can hold us down. They can't. I love to stick it to the man, whatever race that may be. And so what I think is that we as Black people, you already said it, Torre, we tell stories through our music. It came back in slave times. There wasn't even a banjo in America until it came from African slaves when we were brought across the ocean, right? And so realistically speaking, we had those songs. We had slave songs like Wade in the Water. We made up our own Black national anthem, right? So when you start thinking about where all music comes from, the audacity, because now it's been whitewashed and you may not remember where it actually came from, but for you to have the level of entitlement, for you to say, oh yeah, because you guys created that, we did.
Yeah. And I want to...
Shy, part of what we're seeing here is, again, the whitewashing of Black history. What do we do in a situation where our history is being whitewashed?
Well, we educate. Because like Sarah said, it came from, where she stated African continents. But let me say this, the very first song that was ever found, didn't get a record album, didn't get a record deal, wasn't commercial, was found. It's called Thomas Old Gray Mew. Who was that by? That's by Louis Vassner back in 1891. Yep. The very first blues song, which means blues was created and founded by us based on that evidence, and then went on to the 1920s and 30s with who we call the harmonica wizard, right? Which was DeFord Bailey, who was the first Black man to get an album deal. So when we talk about the first Black man to get an album deal, it can look like we didn't start it. But when we talk about the very first blues songs that was discovered in Pennsylvania, and it was discovered in, I think they said like it was in some type of wax. I don't know the name, like a wax, coin thing or something. So, it was just, they heard his music and knew that this guy had discovered it. And so we, again, we discovered the blues. And of course, back then we didn't have the resources to get album deals and to do it in the levels of white people did. And so our history got negated, but this is why it's important that we teach it so that our people understand, wait a minute, no, there are many things that we discovered. And just because you don't say it doesn't mean it didn't exist.
What we saw in that clip was like active whitewashing, like in action, like in 100%. This moment, I am going to misrepresent the history and you're going to have to stand there and go, coming up next. What do we do? And this sort of whitewashing is not just about country, right? It happens in many different ways to us. Like, what are we supposed to do in response to whitewashing of our history?
What Shaboozey did, and if not more, you're supposed to call it out. You're supposed to call it out when you see it, especially when you're a part of it. This has become his career. This is what he loves, clearly. You're a part of it. So you cannot allow somebody to just wash away what history was for what you see now. They've been dodging this for decades. But it's two things I love right now. First off, I love everything Miss Carter's doing with the Cowboy Carter. Honestly, I seen the videos and all that on Instagram. Girls, you looked good. I wish I was outside. Y'all should have dragged me outside. That's one. But two, I think the fact that it's actually exposing this fake gatekeeping around country music. This didn't even belong to you guys.
That's right.
You took it and now you're holding it out from us, which is crazy. So, but we got to start like...
When you talk about it didn't belong to them, we're showing you a picture of Charlie Pride, early Black country legend, right? Shaboozey's doing it big now. Yeah. Charlie Pride did it big back then. And to what I believe Sarah or Shy was saying earlier, when we are telling our stories the way that Beyonce is telling a story about past legends, like Diane Martell, right? And like current legends like Rihanna Giddens and like lifting up Shaboozey and others, like she's telling the story about our connection to country, our birthing country, and the importance of country now. And so she's fighting against the potential for whitewashing by being this sort of history teacher. Absolutely. In the coolest way. I love Cowboy Carter so much. I want to go to see that tour.
But that also adds really quick to the systemic racism, because she did that very, very overtly. It wasn't covert. That was overt racism. And he looked like thrown off. But I believe, if not saying he wasn't, allegedly or whatever, if he was educated on what we are just talking about, right? Understanding who was the first pioneer of the blues, sure, then he could have been able to chime in. He probably knew that she was off kilter and that wasn't factual, but I don't think he had enough information to say, hold on, that ain't it, and drive it. This is why shows like True Talks, where we are not just talking about trending topics, we're also informing and giving education on, hey, that Black voice and that Black representation and how important it is for moments like this when that happens. Because I could have easily said, hold on, girl, let me cut real quick. Back in 1891, Mr. Lewis did X, Y, and Z, and you educate on a platform that big.
For sure.
That's crazy.
Let's move into politicking, Sarah. I'm going to come to you first. Republicans moving to gut Medicaid. The House passed the big, beautiful bill, which is such a dumb name. It cuts about $1 trillion out of Medicaid, and it requires most Medicaid recipients to work 80 hours a month as if they're lazy, as if it's even possible for some folks to get to work if they're older, disabled. And like, there's exemptions, right? For pregnant folks, for recently released from prison folks, for people with disabilities. But when you talk about something like people with disabilities, who defines what that means? Who defines a person with a so-called invisible disability or something that's not visibly obvious to everyone? Will that matter? These are important parts of this whole conversation. And the way that we get healthcare, the ability to even access healthcare, is the difference often between life and death. My friend Charles Blow was on Abby Phillip, and he talked about an incredible story with his mother that shows the importance of healthcare and where the hospitals are located to being able to save people's lives. Let's see Charles Blow.
Republicans are not saying is the devastation it is going to cause to communities. It's going to lead to the closing of many rural. Let me finish. Did I let you finish? Let me finish. It's going to lead to the closing of more rural hospitals that are already on the brink. Many of them depend on people who receive Medicaid to be part of the ecosystem that keep them alive. My mother had a stroke a couple of years ago. Rural hospital, she's in the middle of nowhere. There's no hospital in the town, but there's one 15 minutes away. It's on the brink. Mm-hmm. That hospital closes, the next one is 40 minutes. The only reason that she survives that stroke and doesn't have complications for it because she got treatment within 15 minutes and not 40 minutes. What you guys don't want to acknowledge ever is that there is a community problem here, not just an individual person who...
The right has believed for a long time that the poor are lazy. That has been a central idea of the conservative movement for a long time. They love advancing policy based on the notion that the poor are lazy and that people almost deserve to be punished for being poor, and they should have to prove their worthiness to something like Medicaid. And to me, the idea of making people on Medicaid work is rooted in this assumption of that, well, they're lazy, so if we're going to give them money, they should have to work for it, which is kind of cruel to people. Sarah, there's so many people that this work requirement seems like a cruel part of this for.
Yeah, here we go again. I'm about to be the villain and I'm ready for it. Okay, this is the thing. The part about this and why I really want to hone is because they're talking about 80 hours per month, which is 20 hours per week, which is part-time work. And the thing about this bill is it's saying that there are exemptions. You mentioned some of them, Tare. It is for disability. It is for pregnant women. It is for primary caregivers of dependents, usually in past legislature, right? It is for the medically frail. It is for those undergoing treatment for substance disorders. It is for serious health conditions. And so, yes, it can be hard to really differentiate who is this for. But more than anything, I think if you are willing and able to work, then you should work. Now, I'm not talking about seniors. I really do believe that for the seniors, y'all get to get in where you fit in. I do not. I've heard terrible stories about how older people are eating dog food, how they're coming back now. They're working at Walmart because they cannot afford their lives. I am not talking about that. But if you are a willing, young, and strong body, I do not see the issue with working 20 hours a week.
Shy.
So this is the thing, Sarah, hear you, but total pushback. When you are a willing and able to operate and work person, you're not disabled. And disabilities aren't something that we can see. And disabilities also aren't something that we need to be telling people how they should look or how they should be. And if they're disabled, there's mental health disabilities that people cannot see, but cognitively, a lot of those people may appear to be functioning, but they have so many impairments that they will not only be doing themselves a risk or disservice, but also us if they were serving us in certain capacities that they would not be able to do at a level that would be a result that we want. So when they just put a blanket word such as disability there, or disabled people, it goes to me asking, well, what do you consider disabled? Because I think that at any point in time that a person who has a disability can come in and say, hey, look, I'm disabled, and whoever is the one who's going to approve or not approve or disapprove their disability claim can say, well, you know what, based on what I deem to be disabled, you don't qualify. And that can be my mother, your mother, someone's child who has a disability that we know they do. The doctor has said this person is disabled, but that individual is using that blanket statement to say, I don't deem you disabled, so guess what? You don't qualify. And
Sarah,
getting health care.
Sarah, I believe that government is supposed to serve the people, right? And what this is doing is saying, well, we will give you something if you give us something.
Yes.
And I think that is a problematic relationship with people. I think government should be in service. We take your tax dollars and we give you things, roads, Medicare, whatever. Not like, well, if you spend your time, then we'll give you something.
Well, I feel like that's the world we live in, right? In order to get paid, you have to go to work. In order to live, you have to breathe. We live in a tit for tat world. And, when you look at the definition of disability, it's saying a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movements, senses, or activities. And so for that reason, if you do have a disability, which includes mental, right? It's not only what I can see physically, but it's also how am I feeling psychologically, et cetera. If that is my focus, and it is your opportunity to make sure that you are getting the diagnosis that you need so that you can say that you are disabled, so that you can qualify for those exemptions. And if you're not doing the work to qualify for those exemptions, then my question now is well, why not? Who do you not have in your camp? Now, I do understand that there are people that may be severely autistic or may be severely ill or may be have a very severe mental illness, and they need people in their corner to help them do the same thing to qualify for that exemption, in my opinion.
Right. And let me say, as a taxpayer, and a person who votes, I'm electing my officials and I'm paying my taxes for them to do what Torre said, to serve me, to serve my family, to write legislation and policy that makes sure that we don't die a slow, painful death, and that we can actually have a good quality of life while we are alive. And so with that being said, it is not our responsibility to make sure we have a proper diagnosis. We got professionals put in place that are called doctors, medical physicians, psychiatrists, and a government that should be operating from a democracy that says, listen, we have the compassion for the people we are serving, for the people who are distributing and voting to our campaign, to our policies. And we have a duty, an oath that says we are here to serve you. And it is not your responsibility to have to figure out what diagnosis this is. This is why people are professionals who can diagnose, who can make sure documentation is legal enough so they can qualify for disability that people freaking deserve. I pay taxes, and it goes into that of serving my people. And my mother, who is on disability, who you can't physically, you can't through optics tell, I would be going crazy if she met up with somebody and they said, look, we're not going to approve your disability claim because we don't deem you to be disabled because you weren't responsible enough to tell your doctor what diagnosis you need. No, people need to do their job and make the right diagnosis based on somebody's inability to work and be disabled.
Dimitri, are you comfortable with the government saying in order to access healthcare for poor people, you have to work 80 hours a week?
I am not. I don't. I think it's actually, I believe it's very contradictory. I think the idea of asking someone who's disabled to work 20 hours a week is removing the exact same thing that could help.
80 hours a month.
20 hours a week. Exactly. 20 hours a week, 80 a month, right?
Yeah.
So it's the exact same idea. Removing the exact thing that could help this for those who actually are able to do it. And the thing about it is, just because you remove it does not mean they will automatically become employable. It's not going to solve the problem by taking away. It doesn't make sense. To me personally, I completely disagree with it.
Chai.
And I agree with you, Dimitri. Not only does it not make it easier, it makes it worse. Because again, if I am coming to any service place, I don't even care if it's a restaurant, I don't care if it's a doctor's office, and we have someone who is really disabled and impaired serving me, a person who's not impaired, they are doing me a disservice. They are not going to be able to provide a service that gets me to where I'm trying to go. And then what if I don't know they're disabled and I'm up there trying to push back to say, look, you're not getting good giving me good customer service. You're not providing the care that I need. Not knowing this person is disabled, it ends up being a lose-lose situation for everybody involved. And then how do you tell somebody, I need you to work 20 hours when we don't know what those 20 hours, what impairment those 20 hours could cause in addition to the impairment disability they already have? It's completely incompassionate. It's completely inhumane. And I just feel like the government needs to hold themselves accountable for the shit that they signed up to do. It's a public service position. Serve the damn public.
The lack of compassion point, Sarah, that Shai's talking about is right on. And like, I feel like this has been what the right has been about for so long, because they've been complaining about welfare and demonizing Black welfare users from at least since the 80s. And this whole narrative of they are poor, they are stealing from us, we don't trust them. We have to make them take drug tests or walk both ways up a hill or, work a certain number of hours. All these ways of demonizing the poor based on a sense of lack of trust of the poor. There's the base thrust of this feels very disgusting to me, and another sort of demonization of the poor. And of course, the image of that in the public, in the voter's mind, is a Black person.
Right. Well, I believe, and let me know if I'm wrong, but I do believe that the majority of those that have Medicaid are white people, not Black and brown, first and foremost. And then also imagine if we were to take responsibility for our own bodies. Yes, is it great if the government does serve us? Yes, it does. But imagine if we were to be preventative instead of reactive. Imagine if we were to, like both me and Dr. B have said, you go get the diagnosis for your issue so that you do still get to have Medicaid. But that being said, one of the things that I do want to touch on, because we went through a lot in 2023. There was a lot of medical bills that came up in my family, even from Canada, doing some stuff here in America. And what I know is that medical bills can literally bankrupt people's lives.
It's the number one reason why people go bankrupt, medical debt.
Yeah, I believe that. And you have to pay it back, and they're not waving that away. And so, it's challenging, because one part of me is like, well, what does Medicaid even really cover? It really doesn't. You still will have medical bills up the wazoo, even if you have Medicaid. And if you were to take it away. No. You don't. So you feel, okay, so break this down. And for those that are listening and
go ahead. Let Shai want to explain. Go ahead.
This is the question though.
First of all, Sarah, coming from Canada.
Yes.
Y'all do it fucking right. Because healthcare should be a human right. Healthcare should be a human right.
Say it again.
First of all, healthcare should be a human right. We are asking people in a service position to give us a human right. Let me go further. People are healthy. The crime rate is lower. But we fight public safety. But we can't get public safety when the crime rate is high. Because if I can't get my mom to a hospital because she's going to die, I'm a mad bitch. And if I'm a mad bitch, it's going to be chaos when I leave my house. If Dimitri can't get his son any treatment he needs because his baby boy is sick, you think that's not going to be an angry Black man? That's a problem. So when you deprive us of resources, period. Yes, when you deprive us of resources, you're fucking right. You create a fucking wilderness. You damn right. You create a jungle. So why do they do this? Because they want it to be warfare in our communities. They want it to be a jungle in our communities. That is why it is bullshit. Because you cannot tell us you want us to be emotionally regulated, not sensitive, not do this type of crime, not do this type of thing, be educated, walk around like we're good, but you don't want to give us fucking human rights. Guess what? Fuck you. This is why we're upset. Right. This is why we have to have emotions. And this is why it's a fucking problem. Because people in the service position are not serving us. They're fucking us. They're taking advantage of us. And I'm a taxpayer. I'm paying for my mama to be good. I'm paying for my family to be healthy. I'm paying for my kids to have a fucking future. And you telling me I got to worry about my baby at 3 months if I'm not a millionaire that I fucking grew myself to be, but the people in my community are still suffering? I got a problem with that. And anybody who thinks it's okay, I got a problem with as well. Period.
You are absolutely right that, especially on the point that healthcare is a human right. It is insane that America claims to be the greatest country in the world, yet we pay more money for our healthcare and get less from it than people in other countries. How does Europe have a better healthcare system than America? And we could take care of our people. Yeah. And Medicaid, we're talking about poor people. Yes, a lot of white people access that. but a large percentage of our community relies on Medicaid to survive. Go ahead, Shai.
Canada has a low crime rate. We just got back from Toronto, Dimitri.
Yep, sure did.
Oh
I loved it.
The people are like hippies. Y'all are nice and loving, and were they not inviting? Well,
they were so warm.
You guys have resources that allow you to be stress-free,
healthcare,
that allow you to freaking live and wake up and say, you know what? Yep. If I got a problem, I can go get this taken care of so that I can be mentally well. I can have my well-being that works for me. You come to the States, it's a whole different freaking ball. People are fighting for things that they should not have to fight for. I'm sorry. And nobody should have to work 1 hour to get disability. Are you crazy? Work an hour? Fuck that. No.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
But we do have to also acknowledge one of the reasons why this is happening is because we all know people that are abusing the system. And being from Canada, what I do know is I know that a lot of Americans think that absolutely everything is free. Well, you still have to have a job in order to get benefits as far as your insurance goes. Now, if you need a big surgery, if you need a heart transplant, a lung transplant, hear me out, Torre, hear me out.
Wait, no, but you start with the people, and I just said our people.
Yes.
Rely on Medicaid.
Yes.
And you're talking about abuse of the system.
Yes.
You're playing right into the narrative. We're talking about the right saying demonizing the poor. You're already saying they're misusing the
collateral damage. The poor is collateral damage because too many people are milking the system in a demonizing way. It has nothing to do with the poor. They're just catching the strays.
What if the people who are milking the system is the collateral damage? Why can't the poor be the majority? Why can't that be the thing we hone in on? The thing about it is they call it, what do they call it? The big beautiful bill or some shit like that. One big beautiful bill. The thing about it is it's all to mask the idea and make it seem positive. Like this is government reform. When you cutting out, for my people, for my lovers in the chat, I see y'all up in there, all I see you. The thing about it is, this is what I want you to imagine, a pyramid. This is the population. There's more poor people at the bottom. Yes. All the rich people at the top sitting comfortable. But then when it comes to things like benefits and tax breaks and fucking Medicaid and things you need as a human, the pyramid's reversed. They're so comfortable up here while we're fucking down here fighting for our lives. And I get it. Not everybody can go to work for 20 hours. But the problem is this country is going to tell you if your legs don't work, we're going to put you at a computer, you can type it. They're going to say, if your fingers don't work, we're going to put you on a goddamn foot race. They're killing.
Guys,
they don't understand poverty.
Conversation has been so passionate. I'm so excited. I'm so happy we all jumped on Sarah. And also, the next topic is so right in the middle of the strike zone for all three of you guys. When Jody wrote this, she was like, this is for y'all. And when she texted it to us, y'all was like cheering in the chat, the little emojis that are like, yay, like all those emojis, people like, like you guys are so excited. The main topic, we're going to help singles. I think that's all three of you guys, not me. Y'all gonna find love today. All you got to do, if you want to find love, is find the right formula, right? I mean, like, I think everybody knows about like the 3-date rule, which I think is just good common sense. Roll that clip.
3-3 rule in dating. 3 dates, 3 weeks, and 3 months. And each one of those time points, you need to stop and you need to assess, is this person really somebody I want in my life? And if they are, keep dating. And if they're not, let them go. Send the text, do the call, do the adult thing, and move on.
Right. Good advice, right? Take your time before you assess as you're dating the person. Think through, okay. But then there's also like the 37% rule, which means you should reject the first 37% of potential partners. And then the next one will probably work out. Or the 777 rule. Every 7 days you go on a date. Every 7 weeks you plan a weekend escape. Every 7 months you take a longer vacation. Every 7 years you marry a new person. And then it all just like works out somehow, some way. Shai, is there any numerical formula that like actually works?
Listen, I've called off 2 weddings and a couple engagements. There is no one formula for any person. What I teach my clients is get yourself to a place of being happy. Take self-inventory of what you need and what you want. Give someone the experience of you that you want them to have. Throw away this list of shit you have Have your non-negotiables if you're going to have them. Like if one is, the person can't have kids, that's cool. Cool. 1 or 2, right? It's non-negotiable. That's not a list. And instead of the list, actually experience the person for who they really are. So who you're going to be married to and who you're going to be in a relationship with after the mask comes off, after the sheep over the wolf clothing is going to be the fangs of the wolf or the sheep if it's really a sheep. So instead of telling people how to be in relationship with you, let them show you how they relationship. And then our job is to say, well, I choose this person or I don't. But instead, we have this long list. And when the person doesn't fit that list, or when they take their list and they're doing it the whole time, and all of a sudden their real self comes out, you're like, you're not a good person. No, they're not who you wanted them to be. I
want to drill down on one thing you said that really jumped out at me. You said how they relationship. And we may meet somebody and like they are very exciting on a 1, 2, 3 date, but how are they going to be when you get in the long flow of relationship, fight, make up, all the things, bring in your friends, their friends, family, like that, how you relationship. Talk about that a little, Shy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is how you relationship. I love what you said, Torre, right? Because we don't have to teach people how to be happy and how to have date night. You know that you've been married for years. It's more about that's beautiful, because that means that you have found someone not who's perfect. You found someone that you can resolve with.
My wife is perfect. What I am not perfect, but my wife is.
You know what? She is not only perfect, but beautiful, because we've seen her. You're right. She is perfect. Just like your curls. You ain't. Now, that's what I was saying. But you want to make sure you have somebody which you found that you can resolve with. And let me go further. Someone that if you can't resolve, guess what? You can still commit. You can still have a good day, because you're not going to always get to a resolution, and you're not going to always like this person. You got to stay until the commitment comes back. You got to stay until you like them again. And you got to stay until the lovemaking comes back, because commitment is doing what you said you would do regardless of how you feel. Commitment's not a feeling. It's not a feeling.
Sarah, she's absolutely right that you don't always like your partner, but you still love them. Even in those moments you don't like them, and you can push through and get back to marrying the like and the love. But I want to hear from you. Any numbers in the dating world, any statistics that are actually like meaningful to you?
Yeah, you know what, Torre? I'm so glad you asked. The one number that I live by, and my mama taught me this when I was a teenager.
Oh, but what's mom's name?
Pamela.
Okay, Pam, come on with it.
We'll call her Auntie Pam. All right, Mommy.
All right, Auntie Pam, let's go.
My mama always said, don't be a hoe 6 months at a time. What that means,
I didn't expect Pam to say that.
Yeah, my mom's the realist. Let me tell you what this means. This means oftentimes you meet someone, you like that person. This scientific chemical imbalance things happen. So you might even think that you love this person. So you might be doing the 3-3-3 rule, the 3 month, 6 month, 9 month rule. You might be doing all of those things. But the truth is, usually around the 6th month, you realize who this person actually is. And when you wake up and you're like, damn, I actually don't like this person. So then you break up with this person, and then you do it with the next person. So what that looks like is, let's say you start sleeping around, I'm going to say at 15 years old. A lot of people start in high school. Let's say you're 35 years old. That's 15 to 35 years. That's 20 years of having sex with 2 people. You've now slept with 40 people. Some might say that's a whole number. Now, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm just saying what I've heard. Do not be a hoe 6 months at a time. Let those people earn your body.
And Sarah, let me say this. I love Mama Pam. Shout out, Mom. But listen, girl, it don't say 6 months. I'll be knowing sometimes in a day. I say, this Negro done got on my nerves. He talk too much, or he's too
Dimitri, are there numbers that are helping you as you're moving through the dating world? You're in the middle of the dating wars, like perhaps as much as anybody here.
Yeah, I can think of some numbers. I can think about a phone digit long worth of numbers. That's all you need. All you need is to pick up a phone and call somebody. What happened to the days of actually just going by the feeling this person gives you? Like, why are we drifting so far away? We making love advice sound like a mathematical equation. Like, you don't need a spreadsheet to know if you like somebody. I be seeing people on Instagram that's like, well, if this person don't text you back this fast, then they're obviously uninterested. Hold on. Is that your need for love talking?
Wait. Let's deal with that. Hold on. I want to deal with that idea that he just... Can we roll the clip on that idea, Jody?
Go 24 hours without talking to you, that mean they don't care if you done ate today, They don't care if you're breathing. They don't care how you're doing mentally. They don't care how you're doing emotionally. They could care less. They could care less about you in general. If somebody can go 24 hours without talking to you, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but you do not need to be a part of their life.
Dimitri,
listen.
If I am in a romantic conversation with somebody and a whole 24 hours, they never think I need to reach out with a call, a lunch, a coffee, a text, or something. A whole 24, then you're not thinking about me enough.
Let's take this and put it into a different scope. Let's say I don't go to the gym for 2 weeks. Does that mean I don't care about my physical form anymore?
Yes.
More like the thing about it is people take this and they take the anxiety and they take their insecurities and they take all their defects and they just push it off on other people.
Hold on. If somebody says, I love you, Dimitri, right? And we're in a thing, I would assume that a 24, like if the sun goes up, so the sun goes down, at some point you'd be like, I'm interested. I'm curious about Dimitri. How you doing today? What's really good with you? What's something?
You know, but the thing about it is when you got more than one person texting you, you don't automatically assume they all love you, do you? You don't. The thing about it is a lot of people be like, people don't understand busy these days. And I get it. Everybody got their different functions and what they got going on in life. But the thing about it is I may have a problem that's now consumed my day. I may just be in a bad mood and all. That don't mean I don't love you. Let's work to a point to where you make it easy to talk all day.
Sarah, if you're in a relationship with a handsome young brother and he doesn't call you or text you or anything, send you flowers, nothing for 24 hours, are you okay?
Yeah. I'm definitely okay because I strongly believe that if a man has every minute of every day to talk to you, he's broke.
No, but I want one minute. Not the whole day. One time, Sarah.
No, because literally a man with a purpose, a plan, and a vision, he might be busy. And sometimes I think that the problem in relationships is people don't understand the seasons. There is always a winter in your relationships. That is where everything is dead.
What does that mean?
The spring.
What is a winter?
He is sexually attracted, where this person may get on your freaking nerves, when they may breathe in a way that irritates you. And that's just the reality of some relationships. And then in that same year, or maybe in that same 5 years, Michelle Obama had said how there was about 10 years where she couldn't stand Obama, but she wrote it out. There are seasons, but surely enough, spring follows winter, summer follows spring, fall follows summer, right? So when you get into a space where you understand that maybe this is the season where I'm not able to reach out to you as much, can you have compassion, right? Like for 24 hours, am I going to trip off of 24 hours? No, I'm not, because you know what? I'm busy too. And sometimes I'm tired. And let me just tell y'all this, because sometimes if I have a shoot day that's been 14 hours long, I have on my podcast or whatever it may be, and then I get into my bed, I still got to wash my face and do my face regimen. I don't even want to muster 1 ounce of energy to now pick up the phone and be sexy and be cute or be whatever. I want to be able to be my most basic self, which is like, hey, baby, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. Or I don't want to talk at all. I don't want anyone around me.
If you're with me, you can be that most basic self.
Torre, I was just about to say,
one or the other.
I don't care about all that makeup and all that. This is cute for this damn TV shit. You see it? But let me tell you something. When I'm calling my man or my boo or someone I'm dating, I'm on FaceTime with them while I'm taking off the makeup. Okay? Because a person who wants to make time for you is making time for you. I don't care what season we in. I don't care what city or state. I don't care what business you're building. I don't care what you're doing. Unless you're praising the Lord in that moment. 3 seconds of texting me or checking in with me does not take a long time. Let me go further, because I have called people while I'm running into set just to say I love you. I have text people on set, FaceTime them while I'm in my black car headed to where I'm at, because I'm a person who says if I'm committing to dating you, I'm committing to giving you time and an investment. If I don't have time, keep your ass over there.
You talked about this
person with no time.
You talked about this last season about like check on me, like you want.
I said I want you to love. I want you to love me like this. I want you to love me like this. I want you to be eating, sleeping, and pooping me. And I want to say it's about a baseline and a norm. The relationships I've been in with the men who were retired, basketball players or businessmen or attorneys who are very busy, I've never had an issue, knock on wood, because I don't want that issue, with them finding time throughout a day for a text message, we're not talking about an hour conversation. Right. We're talking about an in-between text to just say a emoji, a heart, or I love you, or checking on you. That's the bare minimum somebody can do. If you can't do that, I'm not a bare minimum woman. Take your ass over there.
So some of the people who are out here struggling to find somebody and dealing with these numbers and all the sort of things we're talking about, they are talking to people who are on the internet as dating coaches, right? They may be really real and knowledgeable. They may be false prophets leading people who are needing help. Derek Jackson is a internet dating coach who got into some trouble, made a big mistake in his relationship and had to apologize. Can we see Derek Jackson and his wife for a second?
Truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derek Jackson was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and meeting up and that kind of thing. And some things that otherwise may be considered okay by some in terms of like just chatting or checking on people or being checked on by people that I've had a previous encounter with. But without my wife's knowledge of it and with us having a sexual history, all of it falls under the umbrella of inappropriate.
Dimitri, is it okay to follow a dating coach who's out here making mistakes like that?
It's funny. I've never seen that video. It's funny enough as many people have come to me and said his name or, attempted to introduce me to whoever. I wasn't familiar with whoever this guy was to begin with. But to me, when people are online telling you what you need to do, they should at least be applying that to their own life. And this is me. Right. I be online talking about love all the time. Lost Lover Boy podcast. Y'all hear me talk about it. But I'm never telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I went through. I'm telling you what I hope for my future. I'm not out here saying, in order to make your man do this, X, Y, Z, that girl looked like she was being held hostage.
She does. Let's see it again. Look at it again. Look at it again. She does look drugged up.
The truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derek Jackson was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and meeting up and that kind of thing. And some things that otherwise may be considered okay by some.
Yeah, like when he says sex and her face doesn't move, and I'm like, are you with us, sis? But hold on. I want to play you one more video from a sister who did have a very positive relationship or a very positive interaction with a dating coach. She went viral because she paid $10,000 for a dating coach, but it worked out really well for her. Jody, roll that clip.
I invested $10,000 happily into my dating coach after going on 0 dates in 2 years. And now after a year of being introduced to my fiance, I am engaged. So my name is Shirley Renee Williams. I'm the CEO of a 7-figure content studio, and I'm now the CEO of my love life. This is mass hysteria over the fact that I dropped $10,000 on a dating coach. But that's literally a drop in the bucket when it comes to money invested in Shirley Renee Williams.
Sarah, this woman's video is fantastic because she goes on to talk about, I spent this much on executive coaches. I spent this much on a leadership coach, on a life coach. So she's all about engaging with all sorts of coaches. So this is just on brand for her. But Sarah, really interesting story that she pays this money. She finds obviously a dating coach who really works for her, and it succeeds. Now she's engaged and she's found the right piece to her puzzle. Can we trust some of these dating coaches?
Yeah, I always say with dating coaches, take what leads for you, what leads what doesn't. Because the truth is, whether that person is practicing what they preach or not, is it helpful to you? Is it useful to be slow to speak and quick to listen? Is it useful for you to keep your tone down when you're a woman trying to have a conversation because yelling at a man is not effective? Is there a lot of these different things that people are saying? So for me, because I do speak a lot on relationships, but I don't actually speak on relationships. I speak on I don't even speak on two people. I speak on one person. When you are are self-aware, when you have self-love and you have self-accountability, you attract better people. Does that mean that we're always going to be perfect at it? No. Does that mean that we're always going to be the best version of ourselves? No, but you have to do your best to strive that way. So when I think about these dating coaches and investing in it, yes, because the truth is, if you don't know, how do you do better? These coaches are out here teaching you to observe yourself in a different way. And I think that even Kevin Samuels, to be completely honest, and I know I'm going to get beat up for saying this, Kevin Samuels had the most trash way of saying a lot of the things that he said. But when you're dealing with a high value, high earning masculine man, a lot of what he said had validity to it. Now, did he have to be this disrespectful or rude? Did he have to be this polarizing? No. Sarah, a lot of what he said was valid.
Kevin said a lot of shit that was true. I'm going to back that up.
I don't know. I feel like Kevin Samuels said a lot of very hateful things toward Black women in the guise of, I'm trying to help you. I'm wearing a suit. I'm very classy. But like, it was just a lot of Black female denigration and hatred. I just want to note that Derek Jackson's wife later said that she regretted that video and he pressured her to do it, which may be why she looked like that. But Dimitri, when we talk about someone like Kevin Samuel or any of these sort of male dating coaches who are trying to give us advice, have you learned anything valuable from any of these sort of people?
I'm trying to think of a good one. No. In all actuality, the lady said she paid $10,000, XYZ. $10,000, you therapy in a mirror. It's like Miss Sarah said, as long as you can see yourself, you can see how you're showing up in these situations. He didn't grab a man off the street and you didn't buy a man for $10,000. That's not what happened. All you needed to do was see how you can show up better. You take what fits and what does not, you leave alone. I don't really listen to it. I'll do me.
Cheyenne, is this a valuable thing? Like with you as a licensed therapist who is professionally helping people every day, do you look at a dating coach like a colleague or like you're a shyster?
Yeah, I love that. Want to just clear something up. I'm not a licensed therapist. I don't diagnose. That's okay, Tori, I got you. I'm a psychology expert and life coach. I was a marriage, family, child therapist where I diagnose. I don't diagnose no more, but I'm still in practice and see my clients every day. But I want to say that I think it's to each his own. I feel like for some people who are busybodies and career-driven men or women and they want to go to a dating coach and they find what they want and what works for them, I think they should do that. I think for women like myself who like to go out and get approached by men and flirt and do this little thing and it works for me, I think I should. I think the main thing is, like I tell all of my clients, that what is the end goal? What is the bread loaf that we are trying to accommodate or trying to reach? Let's create this crumb that gets us there. I don't think there's one right way to do anything. I feel like when we start to make it one right way, it becomes transactional and we lose the relational piece of dating. I feel like if it works for them, hey, she got her fiance, she's a career woman. I am very excited for this.
So since you're out there, men are trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
What can brothers in general do better to show up higher, be more interesting to a high value woman like yourself?
Approach us. Don't let this, and I'm going to say it, this is going to be hard for some, but oh well, don't let the Me Too movement have you feel like you one of them brothers who has sexually assaulted a woman. You haven't. Approach us. I like a firm man. I like a very assertive man. Let me know, baby, you beautiful. Can I take you to dinner tonight? What are you doing out of town? Can I get your phone number? Start a conversation. Don't just make eye contact and wait for me to kind of give you the green light. I like a brother who's confident in who he is. And I said this before last season, I love a hunter. Hunt me. Come get me. In Deion Sanders' voice, when I was on his show, he said, that's a grown-ass woman right there. And if you want her, you got to hunt her. Okay?
Sarah,
so come hunt me. Torre, hunt me. Okay? Not you. Not you.
I feel you. I feel Sarah. So, okay, he has hunted you. He has asked you. He's made the first approach. We're moving into like date 1, 2, 3. What do men in general need to be doing better to earn a high value woman like you?
So I love that because I'm not married, so I am single, but I'm in a fully committed relationship. Let me be clear. But when I met my man that I'm currently with now, I was dating 4 other men. So first I want to say this, date them all, sis. Date every single one of them. Now that is not to be confused with
at once.
Them all. Yes, at once. I'm not saying sleep with them all. I am saying date them all, get to know them all, because I say abstinence all the time. Give yourself an opportunity. Like my mother said, don't be a host 6 months at a time. I need to know, do I even like you before I lay down with you? So number one, and then that man, one of the things that my man did was that he literally from one date, I did not leave that date without the next date planned. I did not leave that. Every single time that I had spare time in my day, he took it. He almost made me his girlfriend and made me cut off everybody else because he was so intentional about getting inside of my day and having my time.
Wait, every 24 hours he made time to reach out to you and you liked it?
Of course he did.
That's interesting. Even though he was so busy, that's so interesting.
This is what I'm saying. The point is that there are seasons in relationships, and I think that it's important for people to acknowledge that. There might be 24 hours where we don't get a chance to talk. If I'm hosting a retreat, if it's whatever, and I just get a text message, it's not always conversation. But I do want to say to the ladies, date them all. We are so used to, look, I see Dimitri itching. We are so used to being in a space where we only have one man. Well, look, as we get older and become geriatric, the most precious thing that we have is our time. So now I'm giving you my time. Like, listen, hear me out, Teray. If I'm giving you my time, I find out I don't like you 6 months later, 6 months later, 6 months later. Whereas if I date 4 people all at once, I just condensed 2.5 years into 6 months. I don't like none of y'all. Next. That's what I think. I've only
Dimitri, as a career woman, I can't date 4 people. I got shit to do. Now I could probably talk to 1 or 2 and go on a date here and there, but I'm too busy. I got a bag, a home.
Sarah, I love your concept of there are seasons in relationships, and I don't fully understand it, but I start to see it. You explain the winter. So like, I'm going to press Jody later to have a segment where you can fully unpack that idea, because I kind of understand it, but I want to see like the whole architecture of it. Jody is yelling at me. She is the boss. She does send out the checks. But Dimitri, last word. What can women do better in the dating world for you?
Date yourself. Learn yourself. Learn who you're showing up as. Because there's nothing a man values more than a woman who's sure of herself. If you're dating me, don't date them all. Date them one at a time. You understand what I'm saying? Date them one at a time.
No competition, D.
And you don't want no competition.
And I ain't no competition here. In all actuality, I want to take a second because I seen it pop up on the screen to shout out tonight's conversation. Me and Dr. Bryant are part of tonight's conversation. I want y'all to understand what it is, because there's this mass misconception around it. These are not people who are telling you what to do. These are a panel of people who are giving you different perspectives that may help in your love life. And if you choose to, take that. But I just wanted to make sure I clear that up, make sure Ace understands, make sure Ace is understood in what he's doing. But the thing about it is, for me, sis, they don't one at a time.
No.
4 at a time is serious work, Sarah. That's a lot of work. Just a matter of just keeping 4 people's interests and personalities.
Imagine 4 good mornings.
Like me, I'm like Dr. B. Please believe we're going to have interest. Like Dr. B said, come and get me. And so now I get to decide, okay, do I want to be gotten by him? Do I want to be gotten by him? Oh, this one's swooped.
Can I just ask a question, though? Because I've never understood this narrative, right? Yeah. If you got 4 men and you date them all at one time, really quick. If you got 4 men, you date them all at one time. Isn't the one that wins at the moment, aren't you just settling off the 4? What about the 5th guy that you didn't give a chance yet?
No, because you shouldn't be looking for the bigger, better deal. You should be So for me, there's a difference between a dating experience and partnership in life. If I'm looking for partnership in life, then I'm looking for specific things in a husband. I'm not out here dating for fun. I don't need the trips, the bags, the shoes, or any of the gifts. I could buy those for myself. No, those things are nice. However, those are not a requirement. This is not a transactional thing. This is, are we going to go together real bad, or are you going to get gone?
So
right?
If you're one of the 4 or 5 guys that Sarah's dating, I want to give you a little teeny bit of advice. The chat is going nuts over you saying you're dating 4 guys at this point.
Whoa. 4.
What's the difference?
abstinence.
When you go out with a woman like Sarah, with a woman like Cheyenne, ask them questions about their life. It sounds so simple and stupid, but I see tons of women on TikTok and Instagram saying, I go out on dates with men. They don't ask me any questions. Just ask her a question about her life. How many brothers and sisters do you have? And then listen. And she's like, oh my God, Sarah, are the men not asking enough? Because I hear a lot of women complaining about this. Are they not asking enough questions?
No, they definitely are asking questions. But more than them asking questions, us as women, we have the opportunity. We are really vetting them, right? Because ultimately women decide who we have sex with, men decide who they marry. So we've got to figure out, do we even want to be in alignment with, this is someone that they would actually want to marry. So the questions that I would ask for ladies, and don't be afraid to ask this man, are you dating with the intention of marriage? Because the truth is, a marriage-minded person isn't going to be offended. A marriage-minded person isn't going to be like, whoa, you're taking things too fast.
But Sarah, it doesn't matter when, right? Dimitri, if you ask that question on date 1, you're running. On date 3 or 4, right? It could be a reasonable time.
You know, Teray, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's all about how much she liked that man. It's all about her interest in that man. I was on a date last night. I was on a date last night. Believe it or not, last night. I was, hey, do you want kids? What do you see for your future? X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. The fact that she can see those things with me allows her to entertain the conversation. If she can't see it in that man, she won't.
And I also want to say when Sarah's talking about dating multiple guys, I want to say that because when you're dating multiple guys, how I said I'm too busy to date multiple guys all at once, you don't date 4 guys for weeks and months at a time. That means that you may meet 2 or 3 guys, and usually that 1 or 2 guys, they fall off within a week or 2. You're not keeping men, you should not be keeping men around for long term that you have no interest in if you're looking for marriage. And I want to tell the fellas is, listen, fellas, if she's dating you for months, you ain't the one. Meaning if you're pressing her for a relationship and she's still saying she wants to date, they always give women advice about doing this and saying if a man's taking too long, then he's moving wrong. Well, if a woman is dating you for months, my love, she don't want you. So I'm just telling you, you got to learn to pivot too as fellas. And I seen Demetrius' face when Sarah was saying, women choose who they want to sleep with, the men choose who they want to marry. True. I always teach my brother and my nephews that women don't choose who they want to sleep with, baby. You're a man and your penis and your sex has value as well. You are choosing equally who you want to sleep with. You don't just sleep with her because she chose you. And when it comes to marriage, men are not just choosing who they want to marry, because I called off 2 weddings. If that's the case,
hold on. I
want to marry you back.
No, you're absolutely right in talking about the agency on both sides. But a lot of people talk about the taxi cab theory, which is that women of a certain age are constantly sort of looking for who's the right person, right? And they're evaluating who is the right person to align with. Men are moving through the dating era, according to this theory, that they're looking for hookups, they're looking for short term, and then something happens in their life where they are ready for marriage and they become the taxi cab whose light is open, and whoever they meet at that moment in their life will become their wife.
That is a fact. Most men do not marry who they loved the most in their life. They usually fumbled that girl. They marry the woman that's there when they're ready.
Y'all will not be generalizing us like this. You will not do it. I will not tolerate this. Jody,
that's you. You're the unicorn. Okay? And the reason
why, Sarah?
The reason why is because most men, especially in 2025, are more and more fearful of marriage, right? Or they are very much invested in marriage and they're ready to put away the things of the past. They're ready to let go of sowing their oats. They're ready to really sit down and commit to one person. So let's say that we're speaking about the person that is ready to commit because now they're ready to have a wife, right? The truth is, the next time they meet someone that's good enough is the person that they will absolutely marry.
Dimitri, one thing within that.
This is so wrong because men, especially black men, are marrying 36% more than black women. So it's not the men who are fearful, and it's not the men who are saying they don't want to do it at all. The men are actually marrying. They're actually the ones that are coming forward saying, look, I want to do this. And so go ahead, D. I just want to say.
No, that's good. But Dimitri, I think sometimes men find that when marriage starts to appear to help their lives. You get to a certain point in your life and it's better for your career and for who you are in the world to be showing up with a wife, not a different woman every time. And when you get to realizing like, oh, if I'm showing up to these parties, social and work, with the same woman, like remember that moment when Alec Baldwin explains to Matt Damon the point of getting married, that there's a woman, no matter how much of a jerk you are, there's a woman who is classy and attractive who's like, I vouch for him. Like, oh, well, then he must be cool.
You said a key word. You said a key word there, Torre. Key word. You said a woman. Men see value in a woman. She has to become a woman. Let's not act like the term. Let's not act like the term "hot girl summer" ain't existed for the past 10 years. Y'all wanted this shit, and a lot of times women walk out and they go have their hot girl summers and they want to be on the beach and they want to do this and travel and XYZ. You wasn't looking for a relationship then. So the thing about it is, it's not just men who are holding off. As it's flipping, this generation is waiting till they're 35 to say, okay, now I'm ready for a real nigga. Let me double back to that man who was good to me. So it's not just men fumbling the bag. It is women as well. So please don't generalize the whole thing and making it seem like we the bad guy, because in reality, it's the other way.
I think that that's really good, Dimitri. I think that that's really good, and I'm really good for generalization, so I appreciate that accountability. I want to go back to when we were talking about dating them all, and I want to talk about, because some people are going to be like, well, how do we do that and not feel like a hoe? How do I do that and be accepted by my family? So for clarity, number one, when I say date them all, I'm not talking about sleep with a bunch of men. In fact, I don't encourage sleeping with men at all in the beginning until you actually know this is someone that you are invested in.
How long?
Not that you're just, I don't think it's a time thing, to be honest. It could be 3 months, it could be 1 month, it could be 3 years, until you know your body. And I'm not here to tell people the time length. However, what I will say is, when you start thinking of marriage, one of the most powerful things that I ever learned inside of therapy was, when I put on my wife hat, how do I want to feel? What is most important? Because that 6 foot man with the 6-pack with 6 inches who makes 6 figures,
wait, 6 inches. Hold on, Sarah. We can't go 6. Sis, give me an 8. Just give me an 8. Come on, sis.
Wow.
The way my body would be split into, I can't. But listen, sorry, Mama, I know you watch this show, but I say that to say that, how do you want to feel as a wife? So for me, it's not about how tall he is, what he looks like, although those things are great to have. For me, what's most important is safety, security, respect, openness and honesty, emotional regulation, and emotional intelligence. Now, some may think that that is the gambit. That's absolutely everything. And others may think that is the bare minimum. But the truth is, whatever your barometer is, that's what you should be measuring by. So if you know how to feel when you get into that relationship, if this man starts making you feel insecure inside of your body, if this person starts to make you feel like, you know what, I'm just a little too animated. If this person does not allow you to feel in your field, your intuition is telling you this is not the man. Let that man go. Don't fall victim to warm body syndrome, which is where you need a warm body at night in order to feel like you matter. Don't give in to that. Be patient, because your person is coming. But you got to put yourself out there.
Dimitri, I love what she said. Wanting a man with emotional intelligence, well, also look for a man with 3 arms. However, the first word she said was safety. And I think a lot of brothers don't understand that women move through the world not necessarily always feeling safe, emotionally, physically. We're talking about crime, we're talking about getting hurt. And so when we can make them feel safe, that's what providing is about. That's what being emotionally intelligent is supposed to be about. That's what being consistent is supposed to be about. When we can do that for them, oh my God, then so that's kind of what, talk about what we need to provide for them to feel right with us.
The thing about it is, I think that's a major point you got going on. For men, the problem comes in, a lot of us don't understand women. We can't put ourselves in a women's perspective emotionally, mentally, physically, anything. That's where it starts. I don't think I'm better than the next man, but if you put me in competition with 4 men, I'm going to win. Why? Because I understand how to apply love in the right spaces she desires it. When it comes to security, some women can't be touched a certain way because this trauma happened to their life. You got other women who need to feel reassured in calling them and checking on them. You got other women you got to protect in public more. It's all very specific to the woman. But I wanted to add this to the table for my listeners, for the lovers out there, for other women who are trying to get it together. The reason I say don't date them all at one time, and you trust me, you're going to do what you want to do. The reason I say don't date them at one time is because if I place 4 different drinks in your face, and I give you minutes apart, and you taste one, and they all start to blend together, which creates a mental clarity that you're losing, right? Because one man bought me flowers. Now I'm looking at
drinks.
Listen, all I'm saying is the mental clarity you must have to see yourself and how you showing up to an individual. It's harder to do when you're showing up to multiple individuals. That's all I'm saying.
What I like about where this conversation went is we started trying to make sense of numbers and we got down to like emotions and like real things we can do for the other gender. And like, I think losing the numbers and getting into the emotions will really get us to connection and finding the right person.
Yes, get rid of the transaction and become more relational. It's called a relationship.
Dr. B, Sarah, Dimitri, you guys brought the noise and the funk today. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. That is our show for today. Like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Truth Talks-Live. Continue to watch us here on the Black Star Network right after Roland Martin Unfiltered every night. Support Black media at Cash App. You can also support us by advertising on the show with Truth Talk so you can be part of our 10 million person network. When they get on you, they're going to love on you. Small businesses and influencers partner with us by visiting truthtalkslive.com. And you can become a VIP member of the Truth Lounge and click on any co-host room. Dr. Sarah, you got a VIP chat room. What's in there? Lots of four guys who were trying to talk to you right now?
You know, they might try it, but no, it's all the real, raw, transparent conversations where we can really go into depth with a lot of questions that people have and just good times, good laughs, and relationship building, you know?
As we talked about tonight, Black media is under attack. So support us by telling a friend to tell a friend to watch Truth Talks, where we have the blackest talk on TV. Check us out every night, 8 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. PST. So if you're in the West Coast, like Sarah is right now, or the East Coast, like I am, 8 p.m., we got you. Next week, attorney Ariva Martin and Judge Lauren Lake will be here. They are extraordinary, brilliant women. I can't wait to talk to them. We will be back tomorrow night, every night, 8 p.m. Amazing conversation, lots of blackness.